We, of course, we're just days away from a really big show. I don't think that I think if anything, I think we may have actually taken this for granted a little bit.
What's that?
Last year's Wembley card felt like a happening. There was so much anticipation, and I wonder. I even said at the time, I wonder how much of this is not necessarily the anticipation for the card, but just for AEW to reach this milestone, to be in a big stadium show like this. I think people were curious about what the set would look like, what the presentation would look like, just what AEW in a stadium looked like. Now we know now, and I think I don't know, maybe the curiosity factor isn't there for me as much, but I do think the card I enjoy better than last year's just as a wrestling fan.
Yep, I
And
agree.
you're going to have like 50,000 fans there. And I'm sure there's going to be some negative person somewhere who says, "Oh, well, last year, guys, how many wrestling promotions in the history of ever have had 50,000 customers?" That's a crazy number, is it not, Jeff?
So I've had this running thought, and these are the kind of moments, Conrad, that I wish I could kind of jump out of this seat and let my old man, old Jerry Jarrett, sit down. And I would say, Conrad, ask him this question, because I never understood his psychology. He was never, ever, I'll call it, now this is counterproductive, and I'm not saying I agree with it, but I understand the psychology. But, and I know it's a different generation, and I know, but I'm just kind of going to share the inside baseball of Jerry Jarrett's mindset and kind of why. And then I'll extrapolate out of it. He was never a big fan of, not, and I'll say this, not the big show. He wanted a big show. If you go back generations and promoters, every Wednesday night or every Thursday night, greatest card ever signed. He kind of got as a joke and repetitive. But my old man was not the biggest fan of the big show, because by design, it's impossible to follow. And you promote it that way. The biggest card ever signed. I mean, for years and years and years, Mania happened, and then the international tours were set up because the live event business and everything that goes with it. I mean, you can look at TV ratings after Mania, down, after the big show, down, after this, after that, because everything's relative. There's a benchmark and blah, 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 blah. Walking from Wembley, because our hotel is just right around the corner last year, gosh, but it was me, Karen, and something like that. I said, it's impossible to follow. Next year is, I mean, just like you can't top that. I mean, you just can't, because you can spend a fortune and upgrade sets, and you can maybe even bring in a boatload of talent, or you can bring in all kinds of influencers and celebrities. Nothing follows the first. And so you hit it. 50,000 fans is what last year, Conrad, when Wembley was announced, people literally projected, man, if they can get to 30 or 35, that's going to be fantastic. That I heard those words externally and internally. I did. And so 50,000 fans, it's
I just don't understand how anybody could slant that to be negative. Like
WWE SummerSlam, how many they have? Just to give, we're not just talking
roughly 50,000.
Okay, and Mania's number one. I think Rumble's two. Okay, so WWE's third biggest show did 50,000 fans. What I'm saying is the business, we just did 14, 15 in Mexico. I'm complimenting the industry. But
yes.
We have become so.
There's so much whataboutism.
We just assume, we assume that I've been around a long time.
All I'm saying is, in a loud and clear voice, as a wrestling fan, let's not look over the fact or diminish the fact that over 50,000 people will reach into their wallet and vote with their own hard-earned cash that they want to support this wrestling brand. That I know one of your favorite podcasters may have said was dying or whatever. How many times have 50,000 paying customers come to a wrestling show? It's a big doggone deal. And let's just strip away the word wrestling. How many times have 50,000 paying customers gone to anything? Like, that is such a huge audience. Like, Jeff has heard some of the best musicians that ever came through the state of Tennessee play in bars that held 80.
That's right.
We got 50,000 people here, a lot of people who are coming from other continents and all over the world. Can we just take a minute and put our swords down and just say, damn, this is good for pro wrestling? As you and I are talking right now, there's 48,184 tickets that are out. Allegedly, according to WrestleTix, and I know it's not always spot on, they're set up for 53,832. I know they can open up more. No, they're not going to sell as many as last year. What does any of this matter? We continue to move this goalpost instead of just being happy for people. We've got an incredible card and we should be happy about it. BS, like before sobriety, Jeff Jarrett.
Oh boy.
Do you remember? I'm talking way back now. We're talking about new generation through the Attitude Era. We're talking old school.
Ooh.
Did you ever hear of the Mile High Club, which is something that guys have heard about? Was that ever a part of wrestling? Do you remember the boys ever talking about that? I've never heard that phrase in the confines of a wrestling conversation.
You know what? The hard-hitting questions. Yes, pardon the pun. Hard-hitting questions coming from Connie. No, you're right. The answer is no. You know, plane rides. Nope. I can't say that that was a part of. No, I really am. I'm trying to really go into the deep, dark recesses of BS. Jeff, Attitude Era. No. New generation, Attitude Era, certainly TNA days. Nope.
How does it never come up? Isn't that fascinating? Like, we've all heard the derogatory terms that were thrown around for female fans, and we've all heard all that nastiness, but I'm just saying, like, that's a common term that I think a lot of people are familiar with. And for wrestlers, it feels like, well, that would have been a slow day, but it's like, why is that never even? I'm not campaigning for more plane ride from hell conversations. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, like, we never hear that story.
Nope. And you hear of, the private flights have a different content or different playground, if you will, than commercial. And just for me, before I broke in, you heard of all the partying. The 80s and 90s, there was just more partying, as opposed to, not that Mile High Club folks aren't partying, but no, that never really entered into conversations. Kind of, if you want to get kind of right down to it, the execution of it, those bathrooms are awful small, pal.
Yeah, but you know what? You could throw a blanket over your lap. I mean, let's move on. Hey, let's talk about some of the All In card, because I don't know why that tickled you. Those are facts, Sandy. Those are facts. There's a reason after the pandemic they quit giving you those blankets.
Yeah, let me tell you a funny little story of talking about size on airplanes. Different segue here. Me and Karen flew on Friday from Nashville to Atlanta, and right as we were landing, getting off the plane in Atlanta, there was a man and a woman working the Delta flight, stewardesses. They said, "Hey," to ask me and Karen, "Are you going to Mexico City?" And we looked, me and Karen, like, "Yeah, we are." And they're like, "Hey, we just noticed on whatever, blah, 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 the connection list," I guess is how they knew it. And they said, "Yeah, we're on that same flight. We're going to Mexico City too tonight." I said, "Well, great, fantastic." And it popped in my brain, Conrad and Karen, she smacked me
I knew exactly where you're going.
Well, I don't know. What do you think I said?
Can we ride that car over there with y'all?
Nope. I didn't say that. No. I said, Conrad, you may or may not, and I said, "Oh my gosh, this is fantastic." I said, "Our son is meeting us here in Atlanta. So I'll introduce you," because they were very nice, and Karen, and it was flight attendants that were super cool and conversational and just really, really nice. And I said, "Fantastic. We're meeting our son here in Atlanta." I said, "He's a little guy, but he's going to be so excited to fly with us.
Oh God.
Up first, blah, 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 blah."
I can't wait.
Yeah. And so we got on off. Karen goes, You just had to. You just had to do that, didn't you? I said, it's all in fun. So sure enough, we get over there. We're boarding the flight. I gave my band the heads up. We go through, got to present your passport. And as we walk down the jetway, Karen's in front. She goes, no, you go first. I said, no, honey, you go first because I want to get a good look at this. And as we walk right on the plane, I make sure I'm right beside him. In the eyes of those two individuals, as Satnam Singh stood beside me, I said, here he is, Mom. He wants some money. Oh, Connie, it was fun. They're like, then I said, no, we're kidding. But Karen stooged us off, but she didn't let it go on too long. I said, yeah, that's Mom. I'm Dad. Here's our son. But it was all in fun, Conrad.
I legit thought that you were going to try to get you and Cody to drive the cart through the airport.
Oh, God.
Because I know he rides the jet skis with you. And I thought you were going, can we ride this cart? Because I thought you and Cody, but you meant your other son, Satnam Singh.
Yeah, no, yeah, because I knew he was, because he had texted me right as we landed, like, hey, you're at the gate yet? I said, no, we're just landing. So just having fun. But no, yeah, it was funny. It was harmless rib.